Hey friends, Wayne over here at the Ram Man. I want to share some helpful information with you. This right here could save you some time, money, and some grief, and guaranteed to be correct. There's the preferred contact right there. I get a printout and I can keep up with you better. Running a machine shop with 3 or 4 monkeys is not that much fun anymore, although it is a necessity. Talking to cool people, doing cool shit on cool buggies, and those stories. That's one of the main reasons I do this. So, today we're going to talk about the Mopar fabled 222-9171. And I haven't done a video on one of these in a long time, and I'm not sure if I ever did actual history. 10 or 15 years ago, we got a lot of, they're out there on the internet, probably a couple dozen of them. Some guy was selling some NOS, these and Hemis, and we got like 50 and 50. He had worked at Chrysler and Bendix, and he had been taking them out in the lunchbox, thinking someday they would be of value, and they were. But today there are no more, and I sold all those. Now, 9171 in the Mopar world is the #1 most requested master cylinder. It was a 1 year only on the 1970 e-bodies. And to tell you the truth, although it is in high demand for people doing exactly correct cars, it is a shitty master cylinder. And hence, in real life, for driving your car, it's not a real good option. So, here's our little history. So, up through 69, Mall Chrysler on the disc brake cars, all of them, even the A-body, were running a maximum power tandem Bendix booster. 2 boosters in one. And they were running that 1 1/8 inch master cylinder, which is a big bore for a car. But that tandem booster could push it. And they knew this because they introduced that great big tandem bullet nose Bendix booster on the 62 Imperial, along with an 1 1/8 inch drum brake jar top master cylinder used to stop that 6,500 pound beast that they had developed. The Imperial was the top of the line, the flagship, and it always got the best components. And then we come along in 70 with the gas crunch and the insurance and the dissolving of the muscle car era. And so, trying to save some money, they came out with the single diaphragm 11 inch booster. All those B bodies and E bodies had single diaphragm booster. That single diaphragm booster has about 30% less power than that tandem. So what they did, a knee-jerk reaction is, they said, okay, well, we'll drop the bore size 2 full sizes down to a 1 inch. Now, that 1 inch bore piston is the exact same size as used on the A-body. And I don't know if you've caught on already, but an A-body is a lot lighter than an E-body. Are you with me? And you use smaller pistons and smaller calipers. And on the E-bodies, using those pin calipers with the 2.75-inch pistons and stuff. So, here's a phenomenon in real life. Call it running out of gas. What people found out in real life, 70 E-body with 1-inch piston and a 9171, when you did a real hard, not a panic stop, jamming through the floorboard, but when you did a real hard emergency stop from like 70 miles an hour, the car slowed down, and then when you got around about 30 or 25 miles an hour, the car wouldn't stop anymore. Think about that. Because basically, you had pushed all the fluid out behind the caliper piston, and there was no more. There was no more. So, that's why they immediately changed it and said, oh shit, we dropped it too much. And that's why they immediately, 71 and up across all car lines, they came out with the 1187, which has an 1 and 32 bore, so it split it in the middle. 1 and 1/8, 1 inch, 1 and 32, and they stuck that snout out there about 3/4 of an inch to move the exact same fluid volume as the 1 and 1/8. They needed to move the exact same volume. So, it was an error. It was a fuck up. But they are still very valuable. They are extremely valuable. I have owners and shops. I have 2 right now that I have credit card numbers that if somebody offers to sell one, or if I run across them one, I am available to spend up to $2,000 for a bare, rusted, chicken shit, rebuildable casket. Okay, I'm going to repeat that. I have 2 clients right now, June of 26, with credit card numbers in hand, because they know that I'm a clearinghouse, willing to spend $2,000 on a rusted piece of shit cord. Do I need to repeat that? Okay, we're good. What we have right here is we have one that I've just got done rebuilding completely, first class. Here we've got a brass sleeve in there, so the bore will never go bad when you're spending $2,500 or $2,800 or something, or when you're spending $1,000 to get a rebuild, a first class rebuild on a 9171 with the sleeve. And of course, the guts inherently are always bad. They're corroded too bad. So years ago, we had our own kits done. Front pistons anodized like the original, so they're hard. Rear pistons, new springs, front springs, rear springs. So that's what we put in our stuff. We are a first class operation. Ain't no Southern engineering, ain't no monkey rigging. We do it right or we don't do it at all. That's what my old man used to say. Either do it right, son, or don't do it at all. So anyway, there's some history on the 9171. And so if you need some help with that, or any other Chrysler master cylinder or a Hemi, we have the pistons and stuff for the Hemis too. The 2229 9191. So anyway, I hope this is some helpful information. If you find somebody on the internet or whatever says that they've got piston kits for the 9171, they are a liar. They don't fit and don't work. Anyway, God bless you. God bless America. And happy Mopar.